Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live career strategy hour with me, Professor Heather Austin. I'm so excited to spend some time with you guys today. If you can see me and you can hear me and everything's working properly on your end, go ahead and give me a big, huge thumbs up. In fact, give the video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you're notified when I do these amazing live career strategy hours in the future. So say hello in the chat. I know that a lot of you joined us early. Larry, I love to see you in the chat super early this morning. It looks like Garrett is here, Corey is here, Charia is here, Margaret is here, Carolyn is here, Michael, Joan. So happy to have you guys here. If you have not yet said hello in the chat, make sure you jump into the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from today. We are going to cover layoffs, hiring freezes, and jobs rescinded. So you guys, today's content is all about what you need to know right now in the current job market, today's job market, and what steps you can take to be successful. So if you've ever been to a live training of mine, you know that I share lots of really amazing tips. I share a lot of slides, so you're definitely going to want to take notes. And I also ask you a lot of questions. So make sure that you tune in and that you don't fall asleep or tune out, because I want you typing into the chat. Now, if you have not logged into YouTube and you can see me, log into YouTube, because it's the only way that you can interact with me in the chat and ask questions. My team is here. They're putting questions in front of me today, so I will be answering those as we go throughout today's live stream. And they're also going to be moderating the chat to make sure you guys are being nice, which you normally are. We have an amazing community of some fantastic professionals out there on planet Earth. So you guys, today we are going to be sharing layoffs, hiring freezes, and jobs rescinded, what you need to know. So I'm going to just jump right into slides. Now, here's the thing. And as I mentioned earlier, you guys know I share a lot of really good, amazing content with slides because I'm a visual learner. We do have a 2-day flash sale starting right now, well, starting today, for our Career Advancement Toolkit. So I'm going to jump into slides so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, and then we're going to jump right into all the amazing content. So the Career Advancement Toolkit, if you guys do not have this yet, in fact, let me take off my screen so you can see the entire thing here. If you guys do not have this, this is the very, very, very last time. I'm almost 99.9% sure that this will be the very last time that we offer the toolkit for the price that I will share with you guys a little bit later. We have added some amazing resources to this toolkit, so you're definitely going to want to tune in and listen for that as we go throughout today's live stream. Again, if you're just joining us or you're listening to us on the replay, make sure you say hello in the chat or say hello in the comments below. It looks like we have a lot of you. I love seeing Utah people because that's where I'm at. Lisa's from Utah. Let's see. Cheryl also is from Utah. Colorado. I love Colorado. Kathleen is from Colorado. Say hello, you guys. I love interacting with you. And by the way, I do have more questions to ask you throughout today's live career strategy hour. So what we're going to talk about is layoffs, hiring freezes, and rescinded job offers, what you need to know and what you need to do next. Okay, so we want to keep you ahead of the game, and this is what today's live stream is all about. Now, in the chat, if you've not yet shared where you're joining us from today, make sure you pop that into the chat. And then what I also want to know is, what is your biggest job search challenge? So as you're going out into the market searching for new jobs, tell me what your biggest job search challenge is right now, what you're coming up against, what you're facing that is a little bit more difficult. As you guys are typing that in, let me share with you who I am, because some of you might have stumbled across my channel, or you might be watching me right now and saying, who the heck are you? Well, my name is Professor Heather Austin. So in 2017, I started my YouTube channel where I took all my corporate and my academic experience and started sharing everything I knew about career development. So on my channel, we teach everything from resume writing, LinkedIn strategies, interview skills, job search skills, all that good stuff to make you be successful in the job market. Now, one of the reasons why I started my channel is because when I was working in corporate, I actually witnessed layoffs and resignations, and a lot of changes were happening. And more importantly, I actually felt at a point where I just wasn't appreciated for the work I was doing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going to go do my own thing. And here I am today, where I teach you guys now the secrets, the inside secrets to the job market. So let me know what your job search challenges. And of course, if you've not yet said hello in the chat, make sure you do that. I'm going to be sharing some amazing content with you guys. Again, make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you've not already done so. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button so that I know you can hear me and all that good stuff. We do post videos almost every week here on my channel, and we also host live trainings just like this frequently. And you guys, these trainings are free. So you're definitely going to want to take some notes and get all that good stuff in. So let me kind of see where you guys are in terms of some of your job search challenges. So Whit says, not having the experience the company is looking for. Jason said, finding the exact position I want, VP of Digital Transformation. I love that, Jason. Thanks for sharing that. Michael says, hello, Michael. Biggest challenge, not meeting every requirement listed on the post wish list. Oh, this is so good. This is a topic we talk about frequently on this channel. JP says, career change, which direction to pursue? Awesome. N. Borg says, jobs that are remote, however, they require you living in that same city or that state. Yes, this is kind of something that employers and employees are working out right now, is how are you remote? Do you have to go in a couple days a week? I love this. Awesome. I would love to read all of these, you guys, but we have so much to get to. Now, let me just share a few success stories with you of people that visit my channel, consume my content, and they make some amazing things happen. So Tony recently posted and said, I interviewed and got the job thanks to your videos. He said, after I was hired, they told me 50 plus applicants were narrowed down to just 8. He said that my interview stood out by far and the others weren't even close. So he says, thank you for your help. They were tremendous. Let's see. Eva says, I wanted to thank you for your amazing content. I started with the how to use LinkedIn, which I'm going to share a link with you guys, and tons of resources with you today on how to use LinkedIn. So that's one thing she said. And then she said how to build a better resume, and then how to ace the phone interview and the in-person interviews, and she got the job. Daniel says, thanks so much. Or thanks to this video helped me be more confident for my interviews and got the job I was mostly excited about. He goes on to say, #forever fan. I love that. And John says, he says, you don't know who I am. He says, but this video and your channel generally are the most helpful resources I have seen on YouTube for career and job preparation. I had an interview recently and I got the job. So this is what's possible, you guys, right now. Make sure you tune in, because by you just listening to some of the tips that I'm going to share with you, you're going to be the next success story. Now, keep in mind too, we do have a flash sale running for our career advancement toolkit. I'll share more about that as we go throughout today's presentation. And keep typing into the chat. Say hello if you're just getting here. Pop your questions in as well, because we'll get to those as well. Okay, first slide for you guys. 5 warning signs that I want you to pay attention to that the market is cooling. Okay, so we're kind of seeing a few changes here and there, and I want you guys to pay attention to these. So very first sign that we're seeing that the job market is cooling is that we are actually seeing thousands of layoffs. Okay, so in June alone, there were 21,000 layoffs in the tech sector. Okay, now this number has been slightly increasing every month since January. So things have kind of taken a change, and I think we all know why this year in 2022. So the layoffs are not just affecting tech. We're also seeing layoffs in the real estate sectors and finance. Okay, and I'll share a couple examples with you guys in just a second here. So some of the companies that we just recently witnessed massive layoffs were Netflix, if you guys remember that one, Robinhood, and Coinbase. Coinbase actually let go of about 18% of their workforce. Okay. Now, we're also seeing that e-commerce is slowing down. Okay, so we're also seeing layoffs in the online retail space. So as you guys are going out and you're looking for new positions, one thing I want you to pay attention to, and I'm going to share this resource with you, so put this on your radar. Layoffs.fyi. This is an Airtable report where it's actually compiled from just public reports of companies with layoffs or that are recently doing layoffs. So make sure you guys keep an eye on that. I'm not saying that you're not going to go find a job with a company that's doing layoffs, because there are certain teams that are being laid off, and there's certain teams that they're hiring more and more of. Just pay attention to that, okay? Now, the next warning sign that I want you to pay attention to is a decrease in job openings. So if you guys keep your eye on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they report job openings every single month, okay? We're seeing a large decrease in healthcare and social work. So keep track of that, okay? If any of you are in those sectors. We're also seeing an increase in hiring freezes, okay? So we're seeing companies like Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla making major changes right now. So Microsoft actually recently announced that they were going to slow down hiring, and Facebook announced hiring freezes for some of their teams. Now, I do work with clients right now that are interviewing with Facebook, and obviously they're not affected by this, but there are some teams with Facebook that are on hiring freezes, so keep track of that. And then we also recently heard from Tesla that they are going to be laying off 10% of their salaried workers. Okay, that's a huge number. So keep that in mind as you guys are looking through the job search market. Now, the other thing we're looking at is more rescinded job offers. Now, I'm going to address this in just a second. Rescinded job offers are actually pretty rare. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but we know that companies like Twitter and Redfin, and then again, Coinbase, have rescinded job offers in the recent weeks. Now, normally this happens because they started the job search process 2, 3, 4 months ago, and they have been in that process for that long, and things have changed, okay? We know that a lot of things are changing in the economy right now. No one has a crystal ball and can predict the future, but we're seeing other sectors like retail marketing, consulting, and even recruiting services really start to pull back a little bit here. Now, the fifth and final warning sign in the job market that the job market is cooling is that we are seeing a lot of worried CEOs, which is totally normal right now. So they're worried about the future. We know that capital is rising. This includes inflation and interest rates, and it's making CEOs worried about what's to come. Okay, they actually want to be prepared for the worst. So that's why we're seeing some of these warning signs that the job market is cooling. Okay. Now, the thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, and by the way, I have a question for you guys in just a second here, is I don't want you to panic just yet, okay? I know I just shared with you guys some 5 warning signs that the market is cooling. However, there are still nearly 2 jobs available for every worker. So I want you to keep that in mind, okay? This labor shortage is actually still forcing companies to pay up more in benefits and salary, okay? Now, wages might not be climbing as fast as they were a few months ago, but they are still climbing, okay? So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that according to some recruiters, the tech market is still super red hot, okay? We have seen some pockets of layoffs and hiring freezes, but we are still seeing a really, really, really tight labor market, okay? Companies are still desperate to hire talent. Candidates are still getting several job offers. Here's the thing that it comes down to, you guys. You need to be the best candidate possible when you go out into the job market, because these 5 warning signs that I shared with you, if you are the best candidate possible, meaning you show up, which I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. You show up, you let them know how amazing you are, you show them that you can do the job, better than anyone else. They will not second guess bringing you onto their team, okay? So keep that in mind, that although we have these warning signs, it is not the time to panic, okay? Now, let me know in the chat from you guys, if those that are in the job market, what you're seeing in terms of your interviews, resumes, all that kind of stuff. Tell me in the chat. Give me a yes if you've actually seen these warning signs, or give me a no if you're just like, you know what, I'm still like moving forward, full steam ahead in my job search. My industry hasn't been affected by any of this. I'm still getting job offers and all that good stuff. So type yes into the chat if you're seeing these warning signs. Now, quickly, I want to give you guys the steps, and I'm going to share with you guys 4 steps that you can do to take this job search of yours and make it a winning, successful story, okay? The very first thing that you need to do as you're going into today's job market is you need to organize your job search, okay? So what I mean by that is you need to create a list of companies, and I'm not just saying a list, a targeted list of companies and positions that you are applying for, okay? Now, I don't want you to just go scour the internet for random open positions, because this is going to be a waste of your time, your energy. It's going to increase your frustration. It's going to decrease your confidence, okay? So you need to be keeping track of the positions you're applying for. So what I mean by that is your companies, your job titles, who's the point of contact in the company that you've been working with, what skills, and I don't mean just skills, but the top skills that they're looking for in their ideal candidate. Who do you know that might be on the inside of the company that could potentially send you a referral? If you've followed up after interviews or after you've sent a job application, also important notes about the company. Maybe you've researched something that you would like to ask in the interview, or maybe you've learned something that you want to ask in the interview, okay? So you need an organized job search. So here's what we did. Inside of the toolkit, we actually added a brand new resource called the Job Search Tracker. So I put out an email a couple weeks back to all of our toolkit purchasers, which is thousands of people. And I said, hey, what thing inside the toolkit, or what do you wish was inside there that's not in there right now? And a lot of people said, hey, Heather, I just need to keep track of my job search. Like, I need to know what to keep track of, what to do, when to do it, all that good stuff. So we just created a brand new job search tracker inside of the Career Advancement Toolkit, where you can keep track of all that amazing information. The toolkit comes in the tracker comes in a Google Sheet plus a PDF document, and it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to actually use it and conduct a thorough, productive, positive job search, okay? I'll share with you guys more in just a second where you can grab the toolkit. But just so you know, that's one of the steps that you need to be aware of. Now, in the chat, what company do you want to work for? So all of those that are here today, or if you are listening to this on a replay, let me know, what company do you want to work for? So you should have at least a good idea of a few targeted companies that you're like interested in working for. Type that into the chat. What company do you want to work for? And while you're typing that in, I'm going to move into step number 2, which is to create an incredible career portfolio. Okay, so if you've ever been to any of my live streams, I actually break your career portfolio up into 3 main sections, okay? The very first one is going to come in the form of your resume, okay? So this is where you need to hook them with the top half. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. You need to tailor your resume with keywords or keyword phrases, and you need to include results-driven achievement statements, okay? Now, here's the cool thing. We also just added into the toolkit, well, we've always had our master resume template that I want everyone to use, but if you're in a certain situation where you're a career changer, you have an employment gap, or maybe you have no work experience, we have added templates in for those scenarios as well. So again, you need to start with your resume. The second part to this is your cover letter, okay? So when we talk about your cover letter, you guys have heard me say this before if you've listened to my channel, I like to look at your cover letter as a mini sales presentation, okay? So I keep it simple, a 4-paragraph structure where you have a strong introduction, you're explaining how you're the solution to the problem, you're talking a little bit about your career story, this is where you're making it interesting, and then you have some sort of really good call to action. Now again, inside the Career Advancement Toolkit, we have a master cover letter template, but we've also added a variety of samples because that was one thing that we heard from our toolkit users. Hey, I really need more cover letter information. So we've added video. We've actually added brand new video lessons just for the cover letter to help you guide your way through creating your mini sales presentation. Now, the third part to your career portfolio is your LinkedIn profile. Okay, now I'm going to pop into the chat really quickly a link to one of the videos that we did recently where you can actually go step by step through what you need to optimize in your profile. So I actually share 7 areas that you need to have optimized in your career portfolio. I'm not going to go into, in your LinkedIn profile. I'm not going to go into every section today because we could be on today's live stream for hours just talking about LinkedIn, but there are 7 areas that you need to have optimized. And I like to look at this as your entire career portfolio. Now, keep in mind, inside the toolkit, we also have what we call our LinkedIn Profile Essential Starter Pack, where we walk you through your headline and your about section, because those are the very, very, very most important parts. Okay. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would love to know how would you rate your career portfolio? So I'm talking about all three of these items here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your career portfolio? So you've got your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile. Now, you might have an amazing resume, but maybe your LinkedIn profile is a little bit lacking. Okay. And you know what? Let me take this off really quick so you guys can see at the top there. Sometimes I forget that my face covers some of the slides there. So type into the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your LinkedIn profile? Okay, while you guys are typing that in, let's move into step number 3 really quickly here. So step number 3 in being successful with this job market is network like you've never networked before. Okay, so we know that a majority of job openings or jobs that are filled are found through networking and referrals, not online postings. So I like to use online postings for research only. If you've ever been to my channel, you know that that's what I mention, is it's research purposes only. The vast majority of really good, solid job offers come from people that have networked or have some sort of referral. So I want you to think of networking in 2 different categories. I want you to think of it as your current connections and developing and nurturing those current connections, okay, furthering that relationship. And then I also want you to think about it as new connections. So who can you connect with right now that you don't know? This could be someone that has the same job title as you, someone that has a job title that you want or that works in the industry you want. This could be a thought leader. This could be a CEO. This could be a manager. This could be anyone, okay? So I want you to think of your connections or your networking in 2 categories, your current and then new, okay? And again, we always look at networking as relationship building. So it's not just a one conversation and then you're done. This is, we're gonna have a conversation to start with and then we're gonna keep going from there, okay? Now, here's the other cool thing. I have another screenshot to share with you guys. We did just add into the toolkit brand new networking templates, okay? So that was one of the things that we heard from a lot of our toolkit users is, and even though this is not hard to do, it's just when do you send the message? What do you say in the message? How do you talk about yourself without sounding cheesy, right? Or desperate? So we put together, and these are just a few of the templates that we put together inside of the toolkit to help streamline the entire process for you. So when it comes to networking, you always want to start with your connection request. Okay, that's in there, your connection request template. We also have a template in there for following up after the request has been accepted. Okay, we have a template in there for reaching out to a recruiter. So what do you say to a recruiter for the first time when you found a job, maybe you've applied, you're waiting back to hear, all that good stuff, that's in there. We also have, which is one of my favorites, is requesting an introduction. So if you know someone that knows someone that works for a company, we have a template to help you you copy and paste, you're going to fill in your information and then you send it off. Okay. And by the way, you can send the same template. Of course, you're going to change their name, right? Over and over and over. We also have a template in there to ask someone for a recommendation. So let's say someone's like, you're like, hey, I want to request a recommendation on LinkedIn and I want more recommendations on my profile, which I always recommend that you do. How do you ask that person? And then the other template that we've added in there is a recommendation for someone else. So now you can write a recommendation for someone else. And we have an exact template in there to help you do that. Now, let me see where you guys are in terms of rating your profile. Dennis says an 8. Good, Dennis, or your career portfolio. Yvette says a 2. Awesome. Not bad, not bad. We'll get that up there. Angela says an 8. Kyle 7. Keith 3. JP 4. Jason says a 7. Tim says 7. I think I need to shape in my LinkedIn profile and cover letter templates. Yes. And by the way, let me just mention here, if there's anyone attending the live stream today that already has the toolkit, if you guys know or you've seen a presentation of mine before, the toolkit is lifetime access. So you actually have access to all of these templates. As soon as we publish them, they're not published yet. We are working on a publish date, which should be in the next like week or two. But this is all the brand new stuff you will have access to. Okay, fourth step really quickly. And then I have a bonus step with you. Fourth step is do things others aren't willing to do. Okay, so what I mean by this is I want you to go the extra mile in your job search and your interview process. Okay, so what I mean by this is when you're in the interview, I want you to think of new ideas of how you can implement solutions. Okay, so I like to call this a solutions-based interview. So rather than just going in and saying, hey, the interviewer asks you, tell me about yourself, or why do you want to work here? Or what are your strengths? Or tell me about a time that you did X, Y, and Z. You're going to go in and answer those questions. However, I want you to look at your answers more in terms of a solution-based approach. So what I mean by this, because not a lot of interviewers will do this, a lot of interviewees will do this, is when they ask you a question, I want you to pinpoint one of the challenges you know that they're having and recommend a solution for that, okay? So whatever that challenge might be, you're going to go in and you're going to present, and I'm not saying you're going to present a big, huge, massive thing. I'm just saying, hey, I noticed that one of your biggest challenges is XYZ. One of the solutions that I think would be amazing for this would be XYZ, and you give them that solution, okay? Now, the other thing I want you to think about here, because so many times we see job seekers that forget to follow up. They apply for a position, and that's why that job search tracker is so important. They apply for a position. A couple weeks go by, they don't hear anything, and then they just simply forget about the position. And then by the time they get around to following up, a month has gone by and the company's moved on and yada, yada, yada. It's so funny how many times I hear from job seekers that simple follow-up is what made the biggest difference. So I want you to make sure you're following up the entire process. So whether that's from the time you've submitted your application to the time after you've had an interview, a first interview, a second interview, whatever that is, okay? And here's the thing. We also added brand new templates inside of the toolkit to help you do just this. So we call these our interview follow-up templates. So again, this is where you follow up if you haven't heard back. You follow up on your first and second and third interviews. You follow up after a phone or a video interview. You follow up 1 week or if you've received a rejection notice, okay? We also have recently added inside the toolkit accepting your job offer. So let's say you get the job offer. We have instructions and templates on how to accept that offer, okay? We also have templates and instructions on how to decline the job offer. So our goal for you is that you're getting multiple job offers, and you're going to send one that you've accepted the job offer, and then you're going to send a second one to the other company that you've declined the job offer, okay? So we have streamlined everything for you guys because we know how time-consuming job searching can take, and let me tell you, this will probably cut down on your job search time in half. It will cut it in half, maybe even more than that, okay? So again, all that's inside of the template, inside of the toolkit, but it's so important for you to follow up. Now, really quickly, let me address, let me ask you this before I address rescinded job offers. How often do you guys follow up, or do you follow up? So type a yes into the chat if you are follow-up is part of your job search process. It's something that you keep track of even after you've applied and maybe you haven't heard back, or after interviews. Type into the chat if you are good at following up. Just type a yes, or if not, type no. Enborg says, I purchased the toolkit. I'm excited to work through it. Yes. And by the way, I'm going to share a link with you guys in just a minute where you can get the toolkit. And we do have my team is here in the chat. I'm going to pin, if I can do this. Oh, I don't think I can pin their message. We do have a link to our free Facebook group. So if you guys are not inside of the Facebook group, make sure you get into that. That's in the chat as well. So really quickly, let me talk about addressing rescinded job offers. So as I mentioned earlier, we are seeing an increase in this just a tiny bit. We don't know how long this will go on. It could be something that it's a quick blip and we never see it like it is right now, or it could be that it keeps continuing, okay? Depending on where everything is in the economy, okay? This pretty much is affecting some of this. But I did want to address this because I know some of you have had this question recently. These are pretty unusual. So this is not something that commonly happens. There's a reason for rescinded job offers. It could be like you didn't pass the drug test, maybe, which hopefully that's not the case. Maybe you didn't pass the background test, or maybe you didn't accept the offer in time. What we're seeing most often right now is we're just seeing changes in economic conditions. Okay, so companies are facing budget cuts in some cases. Now, if this happens to you, and I don't have a separate slide for this, so you'll need to write this down. If this happens to you, just first of all, find out why the offer was rescinded. Now, potentially they will tell you in their initial conversation with you. If they don't, ask them why, just so that you can understand, was it something that you did? Is there something that you need to change when you get back out in the job market and you've, all that good stuff? So find out first why the rescinded job offer came in. The other thing you want to keep in mind is ask them if there are other opportunities within the organization. So remember what I mentioned earlier. Even though we are seeing hiring freezes and layoffs and rescinded job offers, they're in a very specific sector of the company. It's not necessarily overall the entire organization. So if you have a skill set that could potentially get transferred into another position, keep that opportunity open by asking them if they do have other opportunities for you. Now, and some companies will just try and place you in other positions. Now, the number one mistake you need to avoid is getting upset or angry about it. Okay, don't take it personal. I want you to keep it positive feelings. Okay, positive vibes, and know that sometimes this is going to happen. It's very rare that it will happen, but just kind of keep it on your radar. Okay, now really quickly, you guys, I know that a lot of you are here today because a lot of you mentioned before that, hey, Heather, I'm just having a hard time lacking. I don't have the motivation to get started with my job search. Some of you even mentioned that you're just overwhelmed by the process. You're overwhelmed. Like, where do I even get started? Okay. Maybe you've even been impacted by this slowdown, as I asked you guys earlier. Maybe your current career situation is looking a little bleak and you're wondering, okay, where should I go for this next opportunity? It could even be that that you are on the path of searching for your next big career break, but nothing you're doing is working, right? Now, keep in mind, you guys, everything that I've shared with you guys today, this is what I share with my clients and my students. These are proven concepts that they have used to find work they love. Now, I don't have access to expensive resources or a magic crystal ball like I mentioned before. I just have a system that works, and I promise that if others can do this and find success, so can you. So I want to invite you guys to join us inside of the Career Advancement Toolkit during our 2-day flash sale. So inside the toolkit, it's an exclusive suite of resources, video lessons, templates, guides, instructions, examples to help you secure your next job offer. So everything that I talked about before, okay, it's your time to apply an interview with confidence. So let me share with you guys what's possible inside the toolkit. So Kevin received a job offer from every single interview. So he said, I finally got a job offer thanks to Heather and all of her help. In fact, every interview I had, I received an offer from, okay? Margaret landed an amazing position that wasn't even advertised. So she says, I just accepted an absolutely amazing position with a company that does not advertise publicly, which, by the way, you guys, some of these networking templates that we have for you inside the toolkit will help you get into that hidden job market, okay? She says, Professor Austin's resume template also made a big difference. She says, I updated the resume using Heather's template. Amazing results. Emma landed a new job in a new sector after being made redundant due to COVID. So she actually switched careers totally, okay? So she says, thank you, Heather, for all of your amazing resources. I know they helped me communicate my career story, transferable skills, and experience more effectively. Here's what happened with Ryan. He edited his resume and landed 3 interviews in just 2 weeks. Now, before the toolkit and before Ryan joined our community, he had actually landed, what did he say in here? I think one interview in I don't even remember, in 3 years or something. So again, we go for fast results for you guys. Claudia landed a new role after creating a successful resume and acing her interview. So she says, I just started my new job. Great resources, training, advice that all played a role in a successful resume application and interview that landed me this role. So really quickly, inside of the toolkit, and by the way, you guys, I haven't even updated these slides to tell you in addition to all of this. Okay. So there's more than dozens of templates now because we just added a bunch of new templates, bonus resume writing video lessons, my perfect cover letter how-to guide, which by the way, also has additional video lessons inside, my LinkedIn profile essential starter pack with our brand new networking templates, my ultimate guide to surviving your job search with our brand new job search tracker. And then one of my favorite perks of this is lifetime access to the course material. Now, let me share with you guys a couple of bonuses that we've added inside the toolkit as well. We have a job interview confidence training because I know that a lot of you reached out and said, Heather, I just need more help with interviewing and going into my interview really successfully and being confident in my interview. So we have a bonus training inside of the toolkit that you can have access to. It's broken up into 4 modules. You'll learn how to manage your nerves and anxiety. You'll learn how to answer the top 5 commonly asked interview questions. You'll learn how to answer the behavioral-based interview questions. And then again, 4 types of questions that you should ask your interview. So we kind of break that all down. We also, inside the toolkit, have our experts printable interview guide. So again, this is where you can develop your standout responses to some of those trickiest interview questions, including behavioral-based questions. And we've also included sample answers for you so you can read through the sample answer and you can say, does my answer sound this good? Or what do I need to change to make my responses a little bit better? Now, for a fast action bonus for the first 20 people that grab the toolkit, which by the way, this fast action bonus should be gone by today or at least by tomorrow. The first 20 people that purchase will actually receive an extra cover letter workshop. So again, this is actually a brand new, never before seen resource inside the toolkit that we are uploading the videos right now as we speak. I have a team doing this, where you're going to learn, there's a couple of things we've added to this. You're going to learn how and why your cover letter impacts your chances of getting hired. You're going to learn the different forms a cover letter can take. So I know there's that traditional, my cover letter's like a letter, right? Well, I don't teach you just that form, okay? The cover letter can take on so many different forms, including an email response, including a connection request, including, there's so many ways that we can slice and dice the cover letter, and I show you that inside of our bonus training. We also talk about how to make your cover letter interesting and to the point. So again, our goal is to help you create a cover letter that is interesting, that is engaging, that gets someone to take action, okay? And then of course, how to make a great first impression. So that is inside of our bonus cover letter workshop. Again, this is a brand new resource, even though if you've seen this slide before, it's a brand new resource. We just haven't updated our slides yet. So that is inside the Career Advancement Toolkit for the first 20 people to grab it. Now, all these resources, and by the way, we have not reevaluated the worth of the toolkit, which is probably worth more than $13.79. In fact, I'm 100% sure that it is worth more than that. But you guys, your investment today is just $97. Now, keep in mind, I am 99.9% confident that the price of the toolkit will never, ever, ever, ever be this low again, okay? Now, we only hold these flash sales a couple of times a year. The toolkit will probably never be this low again. With all the additions and all the amazing resources that we've added to the toolkit, it is going to streamline your process. I do not know anywhere else online out there in the world where you can grab a resource like this for $97, okay? Now, this will probably be the very last time you will see this $97. So here's the thing. You can start now and save $200 off the full price. The flash sale ends on Thursday, June 30th. So you guys only have a couple days to grab this. And go to heatheraustin.online/live offer. So my team will pop that into the chat for you. I will also pop it into the chat, and then I'm going to pin the comment at the top so you can also grab that. So heatheraustin.online/live offer to get started now. Remember, the first 20 people that join will get access to our brand new cover letter workshop, okay? Let me share a few more success stories with you guys, and then we're going to take questions. So Tracy landed an internship and turned it into a full-time permanent position. Okay, so this stuff even works for recent graduates. So she says, Heather's resources helped me land an interview for a web developer internship. So definitely use her resume and cover letter templates, which again are inside the toolkit. And my internship recently offered me a full-time position. I am so elated. She said, I also switched careers. Okay. So not only are we serving career switchers, we are serving recent grads. So here's Terry landed a fabulous job offer, even though he was 10 years out of the job search. So we're also serving senior level professionals. So Terry says, your guidance has helped me polish up my LinkedIn, rev up my resume, and helped me ace an interview to get a fabulous job offer for a position that I believe I will really enjoy. He says, and I'm a 57-year-old fossil who is 10 years out of the job search market. So Terry hadn't even looked for a new job in over 10 years. Here's what happened with Ed. He'd actually given up on his job search right before receiving a job offer from a great company. He says, I received a job offer from a great company that I accepted this morning. The moral of this story is that when you least expect something, something happens. And then he also goes on to say, or maybe it's time to take a mental health day, which I am totally all for. Colleen actually moved through the interview process successfully using the toolkit. That's a tongue twister. She said, your advice has been awesome, especially the career toolkit. I have been passing your name and videos to everyone I know, which by the way, we get that a lot. Faith landed a remote customer service position. So she goes on to say, I wanted to share some great news. I got a remote customer service position. I can't thank you enough, Professor Heather Austin. Here's what happened with Tanya. Tanya applied to 9 positions, landed 6 interviews, and received 3 job offers. So this is her results of using the toolkit. She was actually terminated because of COVID and was like, what the heck am I going to do now? And she's like, you know what? I'm going to grab the toolkit and I'm going to put it to good use. And this is her success from that. Here's what happened with David. He also was terminated because of COVID, right? A lot of terminations because of that. And he'd been searching for a job for 13 months, right? So what ended up happening with David is we gave him some feedback on his resume. He ended up putting some things into practice, sent out his resume, ended up landing a job. He says, this past week I landed a wonderful new job. He said, COVID may have taken my job, but it also provided me a new one. I'm now working for a biotech company that is fighting to end the COVID pandemic. He goes on to say, I can't thank you enough for all you've done to get me on the right track and has led me to this position. He says, I make more than I thought was possible, all while doing something that helps others, which by the way, this shows that David is working in his passion. Okay, one more from Troy. So Troy actually sent in a message and said he applied for 3 positions and went into the, well, okay, let me just say this. He sent his resume in. The employer later told him, hey, your resume stood out between 50 and 60 or among 50 and 60 other resumes. He applied for 3 positions. He ended up accepting the offer for his favorite position. Okay. And then that's when he heard back from the 2 companies as well. So this is what our goal is for you guys, is that you're landing multiple job offers and you're having to jump into the toolkit and say, okay, I need to send that accepted a job offer letter. And then I also need to send my declined a job offer letter because I can't accept all these jobs, right? Now, just to recap really quickly, inside of the toolkit, dozens of templates ready for you to jump in and grab. Everything's organized, ready for you to go. Fast action bonus, our cover letter workshop, bonus resume writing video lessons, your bonus job interview confidence training, your bonus experts printable guide, my perfect cover letter how-to guide with brand new video lessons, LinkedIn profile essential starter pack with our brand new networking templates, my ultimate guide to surviving your job search with the job search tracker, and then of course, lifetime access to the templates. You guys, $97 is your investment. I'm 99.9% sure it will never be priced this low again when we do a flash sale. You have 2 days to grab this offer. Quickly go to heatheraustin.online/live offer, or I've pinned the link in the comments. If you are watching this on a replay, you can also grab the link below in the description. Here's what happened with Heather J. She said, I landed a job. Your resume and cover letter advice helped me get interviews with almost every company I applied to. I just received an offer that was well above the salary range the company quoted originally. She says, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I want to ask you guys a question. Are you going to be the next success story? I sure hope so. If you take all the advice that I shared with you today, all the slides, you continue to visit our channel. We share action-packed tips with you guys to help you see results quickly. And if you grab the toolkit, I promise it's going to streamline the entire process for you. So let me know if you guys want to be the next success story. I'm pretty sure you do. I want to answer some questions really quick for you. And really quickly, before I answer a couple questions, I want to know also, what is your biggest takeaway from today? So share into the chat, what is your biggest takeaway from today? Okay, I'm going to jump into a couple questions here. Greg, hello, Greg. So happy you're here. I got to put my glasses on for this. Greg says, I have only had 2 positions in the last 25 years. How do I refresh? Okay, Greg, this is actually a really good question. So when it comes to, if you've been in the job market for quite some time, what I would love to know is, have you made advancements in any way? Meaning, like, have you been, I know you said you've been in the same position, but have you increased your tasks? Have you learned new skills along the way? That's really what we want to focus on, because as an employer or employers, they want to see that you've been progressing, right? That you haven't been in the same type of work or the same position for all these years. They want to see that, and maybe it's the same job title, but how can you show them that you've taken on more tasks? Maybe you started supervising individuals. Maybe you started, a big, huge project that whatever it is. We want to show that you've had some progression. That's a good question. Okay, I know his question's a little bit down. Let me just see. Okay. Chiria, I think is how you pronounce your name, asked, what about those who have already purchased the toolkit? Yes. So anyone who has already purchased the toolkit, you will be getting a notification from me as soon as all the changes are live and active, which will be in the next couple weeks. You will get a notification that, hey, it's all there. In fact, all your old stuff's going to disappear and the new stuff's going to be there when you log in to access the toolkit, and it's all going to be there. So okay, let's see what else. Truth to Freedom. I love your screen name. Truth to Freedom says, can you clarify, is the early bird bonus for the first 20 people available to the previous members and future members who have all lifetime access? Yes. It's to anyone that has, well, you know what? That's a good question. Let me talk to my team about that one. In fact, send me an email, because I can't remember how they've set it up on the back end for the fast action bonus, because I know we have a list of that. And I believe what will end up happening is those who had purchased early bird or fast action before will get access to the fast action again. I'm pretty sure that's how they have it set up. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it looks like my team's answering these questions for you. So this is amazing. Okay, I love this other question by the Truth to Freedom. How much personal customization is coaching is given to each individual member? So inside the toolkit, there is no one-on-one coaching. We do have coaching inside of World Class Career Academy. So you guys have probably heard about World Class Career Academy before. This is our group coaching program where it's basically the career toolkit content times 100. Plus, we meet bi-weekly for career coaching sessions, and we pretty much do that all year long. And there's a lot more benefits and perks to the academy, but it's a little bit higher priced. So just depends on where you are in your career and how much help you feel like you need. Really good question though. Okay, let's see. Okay, Cheryl asked, how long should you wait to follow up if you have not heard back? Okay, this is a really good question. So Cheryl, first, it depends on where you are in the process, okay? So I like to say within the first, if you haven't heard back after either applying for a position, well, I would say normally like within 7 days, send a quick follow-up to them to let them know, hey, I applied for this position. I haven't heard back from you. And by the way, we have that template inside of the toolkit. And then, but if it's after an interview, you're normally going to follow up right after the interview's finished. So within 24 hours, but then we also have a separate template for you where if some time's gone by, like we still want to be interested in the position, we also have a template for you to use to send after that. Like if you haven't heard back from your interviewer within a week, there's another template for that. Good question. Okay, Keith asked a really good question. Are resume writing services worth it? Okay, Keith, here's the thing. We do have professional resume writers on our team, like certified professional resume writers that we have career coaches, recruiters. I have team members. And when we create content and I produce a video or we add content to the toolkit, we collaborate on what needs to go in there and how to have the best resources in there for you. They do, let me say this, they do also provide resume writing services. It's a personal choice. I meet with a lot of CEOs that are just like, Heather, I'm not going to write my own resume, right? And that's totally fine. And we'll connect you with a certified professional resume writer to help you. However, I do think you also need to come into it and you need to be there to say, like know what's on your resume, because what I see a lot of times happening is we'll get a certified professional resume writer in there to write the resume. And by the way, let's see who asked this question, Keith. You said resume writing services. You have resume writing services that the people aren't even certified resume writers. So you have to be really, really, really careful of that, because I do hear from a lot of people that said, I just spent $1,000 on getting my resume written and it's getting me nowhere. And then they'll go and they'll use our template inside the toolkit that they spent $97 for with all that other stuff. And they get results within like the first couple of days. So you have to be really careful, the service that you're using and the credentials and all that good stuff. But then you also have to take accountability and know what's on your resume. Okay. So it totally is case by case. That's a good question though. I'm glad that you asked that. So Larry said, let's see. Okay, so he's saying that he is seeing a lot of jobs that are hiring for low level. Yes, you're absolutely right. Restaurants, hotels, gas stations. Where does this fit in? So if you're asking Larry about like resources inside of the toolkit or just where these other industries fit in terms of the current job market, keep in mind, you guys, what I mentioned earlier, there are still 2 job openings for every candidate. Like hiring hasn't stopped. There's a few sectors that we're seeing layoffs, or a few sectors that we're seeing decreases in like their hiring freezes, jobs rescinded. We're seeing some of that. It's not everywhere. So I do think that one thing to consider is like some of these other lower paying jobs. Well, okay, with the exception of even like online retail, there are still sectors there that are getting hit. So keep that in mind as you start doing your research and as you start looking for positions. I would love to know, Larry, if that's like where you're at, if that's one of the areas you're thinking of. Really good. Okay, JP asked a question. I have a couple different areas that I'm looking at here. So JP asked a question, how do you explain or connect unrelated career paths? Okay, this is good. So inside the toolkit, for those who don't have it, I have a master resume template that I have you guys use. And again, and I mentioned this in the toolkit, it depends on how you structure that resume. So for example, in JP's case, what you can do is I actually use, sorry, my team's typing me notes and I'm getting distracted. I actually use at the top of the resume a career highlight section. Okay. Now this career highlight section is really, really, really pivotal for seasoned professionals because it will help you kind of connect the dots. Like I'll work with someone that may have been in a position like 10 years ago, but one of their accomplishments was so pivotal that we want we want to bring attention to that rather than say that was 10 years ago. We want to bring attention to that because it relates directly to the job. So we'll pull that up into a career highlights section. Okay. So it really depends on your case, but I would say hands down, JP, the template inside the toolkit will help you with that. Okay. Michael says, are career gaps more common nowadays and more acceptable? Is there stigma about having a gap on your resume? It depends, Michael. So, of course, it's going to depend on the industry and it's going to depend on the type of job. Career gaps are not, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not glamorous, okay? I'm not sure if they are more acceptable. I do think because we had such a crazy, the last couple years, they are present day. But in 1 year or in 2 years, will they still be? I don't know. It just depends on what happens to the market, right? Like we have literally seen since March of 2020, the craziest job market ups and downs that we've ever seen. Maybe, since maybe before that was more 2008, 2009. But so, yeah, we are seeing more gaps, but job seekers are able to justify those a lot more, right? Now, will they be more acceptable in a year or two? I don't know. I still don't think that they are glamorous. And I still think, if you have a gap, try and find ways where you're doing stuff that is contributing to your experience, to your, whatever you can put on a resume, like maybe it's volunteer work, maybe it's community service, whatever that is. We really want to have you have that work experience, which again, grab the toolkit because once you start making those changes, you will land a job. Okay. Okay, let's see. Larry says, I'm starting to worry about questions on an application about explaining gaps in employment. Okay, very similar question to what Michael addressed earlier. How can I address this on an application? You need to talk about what you're doing now that is filling that space. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm unemployed and I've been watching Netflix all day. Like, what are you currently doing? Are you getting certifications? Are you getting an education? Are you doing some sort of training and development? Are you volunteering your time? What is it that you're doing? You have to present that. And that's how I would explain those career gaps. So if you're not doing anything, think about right now what you can do. Okay, let's see. This is a good question. I think this is from Wit. Says, what cities have better job markets? I have a master's in marketing and haven't been able to land a job in the field. Okay, so what I would say there, every city is going to be different. There's remote positions now. So right now, a lot of times it doesn't even matter where you're located. Like you could be anywhere and get a remote position if you wanted. I wouldn't necessarily focus on that necessarily. I would focus more on if you said you have a master's in marketing, getting really specific about companies that you want to work for and specific job titles. Because what it sounds like based on this question is you're looking generally in a general market, like maybe you're using job boards to search for positions. I would say get really specific about what position you want because your master's in marketing may or may not influence an employer's decision. So, and I would love to know if you're still here, type into the chat what that position is. Okay, this is a good question. This is from N. Borg, who has the toolkit. Applied to Amazon, invited to take the online assessment, which I did 8 days ago. Awesome. But I have not heard back and not updated on the application portal. What does this mean? It's hard to pinpoint what this means because it depends again on your recruiter you're working with, the department, the division within Amazon, and the position. What I would say is make sure you do your follow-up. So it's been 8 days. If you haven't yet done your follow-up, make sure you get that follow-up in. Sorry, someone's saying that my volume's a little bit low. I don't even know how to turn it up. I wish I did. Let me see if I can make adjustments. Tell me if this is better. Just give me a yes in the chat if volume seems to be increasing. Yeah, not sure. Hopefully that helps. Okay, awesome. I want to see anyone that's here today. If you guys have not yet popped your biggest takeaway into the chat, make sure you pop that in because I want to know what your biggest takeaway was today. So Kyle says, I paid to have my resume written and I'm not getting any results. Oh, Kyle, I'm so sorry. I hear this story probably a couple times a week from people. It just seems like it's not drawing any attention. So Kyle, you need the Toolkit template, master template, if you don't already have it. Okay. It is such a game changer. And it is a game changer for people in my academy, one-on-one clients that I work with. Definitely take a look at it and compare it to what you have and see how can you kind of meld the two together. Susan asks, what should I look for in a good resume writer certification? So, again, if we're going back to the resume writing services, you're always going to be looking for a certified professional resume writer, but send an email to me because I have a team of resume writers that are amazing that I can put you in touch with. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more questions. Someone said, I heard there are hidden job openings. How do you research these? Okay, when it comes to hidden jobs, okay, and by the way, don't get confused by this whatever. There are a great majority of positions that companies want to hire for that might not be posted, okay? This is where your networking comes into play. Like where you're going to go out and you're going to start telling a company. In fact, I met with one of my clients last week who she wants to work for a company. They don't have positions available in her specific niche. And we kind of crafted a little template for her to send out to say, hey, this is me. I love your company. I love that you guys do X, Y, and Z. One of my greatest strengths or one of my greatest passions is X, Y, and Z. If you have positions that you think would be a great fit for me, please let me know, whatever. So that's kind of how you're tapping into that is you're reaching out and asking people or telling people, hey, I love what you do. Here are some of my strengths. Here's how I think we'd be a good fit together, even though you don't have any open positions, or maybe they do. You don't even have to say that. I would love to be a part of your team. How can we work together? Okay, so that's pretty much all you're doing. Really good question, though. Let's see. Susan asked, if no response after a 7-day email, can I contact them again? Yes, 100%. Let's see. Susan, it looks like you had another question. Can the summary on the resume be titled for the new position I want, even though my experience is in a different area? Yes. So how you're going to connect that, Susan, is you're going to have your title, you're going to have your 3 key skills, you're going to have your, and by the way, those 3 key skills are what 3 key skills from the position, okay? Tie them closely to you as possible, of course. And then in that paragraph, your very first summary paragraph, you're going to talk a little bit about your accomplishments and tie everything together. That's a good question. Okay. Edward says, if you were rejected for a position after a phone interview, should a candidate stay in contact with a recruiter for any future opportunities you might be interested in? Heck, yes. Yep. You are going to, if they're hiring for one position, and you guys may have heard me say this before, if they're hiring for one position, chances are they're hiring for another. Okay. And if you weren't selected for one, keep those tabs open with that recruiter because they want to hire and they want to get those roles filled. And if they see that you have some skill set that they could use, they're going to push you forward in that direction. So really good question. Oh, awesome. Angela says this video came at the perfect time. Over the weekend, I read an article about job offers being rescinded. I was shocked. I know, it's pretty shocking. She said, thank you so much, Heather, for doing a live video on this subject. Oh, you're welcome. I love teaching live. Kirill John, I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right, says, thank you for your resume template that you provided. Heather, he says, it helps me a lot to get noticed by clients. Yes, you guys, the templates make such a difference. I'm telling you, it's the one thing, even with my academy students, when I talk to them about what was the biggest difference, we've had an academy student who applied for like 40 different positions, was hearing back from no one, okay? Had spent months and months sending out resumes, all that good stuff, had no response. jumped into the academy, started using the resume template, updated his cover letter, his LinkedIn profile. Within his first day back applying for positions, landed 3 interviews, got job offers from all 3 of them. So again, you don't have to go out and apply for 40, 50, 60 different positions. You're going to be very focused and just focus on a few and get results with those few, okay? Because you guys, I know that the job search can be draining. I know that there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of time consuming tasks that are involved, but we've streamlined it for you inside of the toolkit. So again, make sure you guys go to heatheraustin.online/live offer. Let me pop this up here really quick again for you to get access to the toolkit. We will also have a replay available for you guys. So anyone that needs to watch this replay or go back into some of the content that we covered today, make sure you do that. We do host live trainings regularly here on the channel. We also post new videos every week about all things career related, LinkedIn, cover letters, interviews, job searching, all that good fun stuff. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, and hopefully I'll see you guys inside of the toolkit or at least at our next training. So again, you guys, thanks for joining us here today. We will be in touch and I'll see you soon.